except not doing that. We'll find out how much damage there will be accrued by the attack by the player hostile. Send that value to, well, yeah, that's not going to work either because each weapon has a specific damage type. So we need to figure out. It's going to be uber complicated. It's going to have to come to here first. So now we have to go back to where we had it. Void, bull attack. We'll have to. Oops. We won't need that though because. So we're going to be sending pointers for sure then. So it's going to be a pointer. So player. And hostile. Alright, so we won't have to worry about alright, so B attack. So what's going to happen now is we'll say we'll have to create a now is it going to be, it'll be an instance per battle or per attack. It won't be a reference because we won't need to store anything long term, just short term. So we can just add and include for damage.h and then just create the reference as needed. Whoops. Except that goes in player CPP. Actually, I already have it defined. Never mind. Damage team. I already have it defined, so never mind. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Player attack. Take damage. So it's SAH. Where's the attack function at though? P attack. Here we go. Okay, that's going to be a void now. So what we're going to do is say damage dot battle P attack. And this. Had that same problem on the other one. Alright, so that's going to send the player class pointer to here. We'll do the same thing with hostile. B attack. Void. No. Nothing in there. Okay, and we say damage dot BH attack this. I think we have to add damage to here though. Okay, that should do that. Yep. Alright, so now we gotta figure out how we're gonna do this here. Okay, so all the damage and stuff that happens here is gonna happen through the damage calculation, but the problem is that there are special, I guess we'll do it from over there too, and it'll all have to be done because the special weapon types are also going to have effect on the ship itself and the weapons on the ship, and modules too. So that's all going to be taking place from damage. So this is going to be a pretty complicated function. Let's get damage CPP open. Where are you? There you are. There it is. So, yeah, let's add that to the bottom. We haven't actually added them in yet. So what we'll do is we'll do the player one, and then we'll use it to work off the, to figure out the hostile one as well. That's a void damage battle player attack player. Alright, so now how are we going to make this complicated thing work? So the first thing we have to do is to determine the weapons. Well, we have the weapon spread already chosen, so we have to determine how the weapons are going to be firing. So if it's going to be spread, so that'll be done through the ship. Let's go ahead and set that up then, since that's now going to be a really important thing of this, because we'll have two things in. I guess we'll have one. We'll have a weapon firing order, and that'll be similar to the participation order in that the what's in there will be determining how the weapons will be fired. So that'll also be a vector. Let's go to ship. Yeah, I do have it in there. Good. So we need to add vector, include vector dot h. No, just vector. Okay. So I'm probably gonna have to do it the same way we did it before, which is to just load every weapon into the array. No, it's gonna be a little more complicated than that, or a lot more, because the player's gonna have to choose. Well, for two of them, the player chooses. For the other two, the player doesn't choose, so it's going to be easy. But two of them are going to be very complicated, because one, we're going to have to go through each weapon and have the player decide if they want to add that one or not. And then we got to figure out a way to not allow it to be re-added. But the problem is that the player can have more than one of the same weapon added. So we have to figure out a way to determine as well if it's, which slot that weapon's in. So maybe we'll do it by weapon slots. In other words, by the hard points themselves. So that may require us to rethink how we do this whole thing here. We may have to change the weapons, or add a third stage into it to where there's a weapon slot, and then we fill in a weapon into that weapon slot. Well, technically that is how it works right now. The weapon class is the weapon slot class, and that is the one that we load the weapon into, the information itself. But what I was thinking is making, taking the weapon class and making that only about the weapon information, and having the weapon slot being the one that instigates everything else. But maybe that's getting a little too complex. Again, need to keep it as simple as possible. So open up weapon as well, because we're going to have to do some stuff here, I think. Yeah, no, we're going to have to make it a little more complicated than it is. It's just, we have to. So the weapons class is only going to be about dealing with the weapon information and not this stuff. Well, that is dealing with weapon information and not. We'll figure it out here. So add new item, header file. It's going to be called hardpoint. And we'll add a new source file here. New CPP hardpoint. Okay, so in the ship class, we're going to be changing the vectors we have of weapons to just hardpoints. And these will be going somewhere else. So instead of what we have here, let's go ahead and add in include hardpoint.h. And we'll take this out so we won't need it anymore for this particular scenario. So if and def hard points underscore h, define hard points include string include vector include weapon.h. What else? String. We'll need. I don't think we'll need a data system because this is just going to be purely for storing the weapon class objects. So I think that's all we're going to need. Class hardpoint public hardpoint. Okay, so vector weapon and we're going to say HP weapon. Is it a capital H or a capital W for the weapon class? Yes, it is. I guess that's why it was working. Or why it's not shown up correctly. Ah, crap, I closed CPP. Open Sesame. Change it to capital W then. So, weapon. Really? Oh, for the. To end it off, yeah, okay. And then we're going to assign it a private value called int HP slot. And that's how we're going to determine what slot it is. The number of this hard point. And that's how we'll determine for weapon spread using these slots. Of course, we'll also have to have a void set HP slot int slot and then a int get HP slot. Get slot number, set slot number. Vector to store weapon. And the reason I'm using the vector is just because, well, I guess I could use an array, couldn't I? No, we don't need to use a vector, do we? Because this is going to be a vector of these. So we just use weapon. We use a, just like we do with the shift class. It's just going to be a weapon reference. Okay, so let's see. So would we use the weapon disabled or hardpoint disabled? That's a good question. I think we'll do weapon. Maybe we'll just leave everything else as it is, and just have that intermediary with that. So the question now is can let's see, let's add, include hardpoint.h using namespace std hard points so and include weapon too. I guess we have to do that as well. Include weapon.h using namespace std. Alright, so see, if we use a vector though, we may be able to do, if we just use this, it's only going to be weapon. It's not going to be so let's change this back to what it was, a vector of weapon, vector of weapon, and we'll say HP weapon dot push back so we can do that. Or at least it's not giving me crap for doing it. Okay, so now on ship, we need to add vector. I thought I did add vector. I guess not. Include vector. So I want to say vector of h of hard point hard points. Alright, so let's go over to ship. Alright, so where were we? We had just put in that. Okay. So I wanted to make sure that we could get this to work properly. So, hard point, H points. So, let's just say save this and this real quick. I want to go to player. .cpp, and then we're going to try something there. Doesn't matter where, just at one of these. So pship dot h points dot at I dot sweet HP weapon dot at I dot damn, so that's gonna be pretty complicated, but there you have it. So that's how it works. And that's how you can go through with vectors, storing different things and getting it to work. Awesome. So that becomes a problem though, because weapon doesn't have a class member called getWeight. Can be very annoying. Huh. Well, we may have to alter this a little bit. We may have to make several hardpoint classes in order for this to work. So we're going to save this, close that one. Actually, no. Open it. Hardpoint L, so we're going to add on there, and the L is going to denote the type of class, or the type of weapon it's supposed to be. Hardpoint L. Alright. So we're going to do this, and we're going to make one for each weapon type. Which will be 5 right now. So weapon L, weapon M, weapon B, weapon R, and weapon H. Or not weapon H, but hardpoint H. Alright, now we're going to have to oops, should be capital B. Go through and also set these to what they should be. So laser, missile, bomb, how do I define rail guns? Is it just rail? What about heavy? Just heavy, okay. So rail and heavy. Alright. I went one over. Damn. Oh well. Just just get rid of that. So, now, what we need to do is go back to ship. And we'll do the same thing as before. We'll have vectors instead of arrays for these, just because of it'll work better that way. And then we'll have a hardpoint vector h points, which will hold the hardpoint numbers from these guys, and then we'll just compare them. Well, it'll be hard points. There'll be a hard points. There'll still be a hard point thing here, except that it won't be. It'll just be hard points. We'll have slot number, and then void set HP weapon type, int or string type set weapon type, and that's how we'll determine what type it is. String get weapon type, HP weapon type. And we'll add int or string weapon HP type. What I'm thinking about doing though is, let's make this private. This should be the only private member variable. These should be protected, I think, or maybe even public. I think whatever's in public is going to be shared. Whatever's in private can't be used by subclasses. Because what we're going to do is we're just going to leave that there, and we're just going to take these out and put these as private, and just inherit all the other stuff that we need from hardpoint. Public hardpoint. So we keep these all to a minimum, but get the customization we need. Well, same with weapon type. We won't need to store weapon type. Or this one. Because we'll know what type it is by the vector we're pulling out of. But the slot number is what we'll keep. String get HP weapon type. No, I'll maybe do protected. No, that wouldn't work. These shouldn't be down here actually. Undo these. So we don't want weapon to be handed out. Yet we need to be able to have it accessible. Well, let's see. I'm just trying to see here. So this doesn't need to be public because this is only going to be interacting with only this one. Same with all these other ones. They're only going to be interacting with these with this specific class. So that does need to be public. These do need to be public because they'll be interacted with through and this one because, well, no, this can stay as oops, as this. So we'll just never call this from these other ones. So I go ahead and add this to the other classes here. We won't need these then. Actually, we will need these because we'll have to overload them. Reason being is because they're going to be pulling information from this here, I think. Well, let's see. I gotta think about how these work though. So let's say we have a weapon we want to install. We call the weapon install function through the player ship through the hardpoint vector of our choice, and then through that into the weapon that we're trying to install. That install script installs, or in simpler terms, sets all the data that needs to be set. This actually errored out because I didn't have enough space to hold everything in, so I had to cancel the Skyrim one. But so all the data gets set to that specific instance of the class, and then we come back and we set the number of the slot that this weapon is currently in, as well as nothing, that's it, just the weapon slot, number of the slots in. Okay, so let's say that we want to obtain, so no, these have to be public. They do have to be public because we have to go through them to get to the weapon class, so they have to be public. If they're private, you can't get into them like that, so there should be no private member, no private whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so we actually don't need anything except for the constructor and the variable, or the that thing, the vector, because everything else is just going to be dealing with the slot only. It doesn't. None of this is to pull out any of the information from weapon. That's achieved by going through this into the weapon class itself. So none of that's really needed. And so we just have really short class definitions here, which is good. The shorter you can make stuff, the better. Although there is a point at which it's too short. Yeah. In this case, we can do it this way because instead of doing instances, because each class has to have a custom vector. Has to have a different type of weapon vector. Now, if it was just vectors of weapons only, and if everything in the weapons class was crunched together instead of done through inheritance like I have here, then we could use just one vector of weapons and then do instancing for that. But that's not how this is set up, so we have to do it this way. Okay. So, we have the vector, which also has to be, let's see, this is going to be a vector of numbers. Well, let's see. No, we'll just do this. There's not going to be a vector in this one. Just having that. We're just going to have this stuff. No vectors. Okay, so set slot in the weapon, and then also set the get the slot and weapon type, and also have the private variables for that. Everything else has those, but we're not going to use the weapon type on the other subclasses. Just the slot type, or the slot number. Okay, so those are done. Now we need to change this. Well, that's right, that's what that needs to be, but we need to add the other ones in. So, Control-C, V, 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 V. That's one too many, actually. Or no, that's right, there are separate classes, so it should be two. We've got a certain white space system determined for separating different classes, stuff from each other if there's more than one class in one file. So M, pushback missile. Or whoops, that should be bomb, not missile. I just did a missile. Duh. Rail. And how this will work is that when the ship gets created, bot/created, because that's what really happens when you buy a ship. It's loaded up into the values are loaded up into the class. But we'll send the number of specific elements through these constructors, and then that's how many initialized elements we'll have. And I'll show you what I mean in just a second. Heavy. Okay, so for instance, we'll pass through int LHP, laser hardpoints. Let's add that to here. And then what we'll do is we'll say, okay, so for int I, or for I, we'll add I to the thing up here. For I equals 0. Oh, that's right. It has to be either protected or public. I'll put it in public for this case. Damn, that means we need to do the same with this. That's fine then. That's actually good, because then this will stay unusable. It'll stay protected. I won't be able to use it. So that's fine with me. So for I is less than LHP. I plus plus, and for each iteration we create a new laser weapon, and that's how we'll do it for all of them. Let's just go ahead and add that all in then while we're here, since we're already doing this. Int MHP. We need to create actually another constructor in this case, because there has to be an empty one in order to call. Well, let's see. So this is going to be no, wait. Okay, no, we're doing this wrong. Because this is already good. These are going to be vectors here. What we need instead of vectors in the hardpoints is actually just a class reference, just like this. like P ship and H ship, for instance. Just one of them for that. So this is actually wrong. What we need to do is just say weapon HP weapon. That's all we need to do with that. And in this case, then all we have to do with this then is just say, okay, we can put it up here, and then it'll be given to all the other classes. So no more vectors. Needed for that, and we can take vector out of here. Now, what we do need to do is to, I don't think we need I anymore either. However, what we do need to do is to, we might not even need this anymore. Definitely won't need that though. What we will need to do though is we'll need to send through an int for slot type. The slot number, I mean. Int slot number. Or just int slot, I guess we'll say. Ah, damn, no, that's not gonna work, is it? Because of the same problem from before. So no, we do need to have these, one for each of these. Otherwise, we could just do instancing. We'll keep the name though. The name will be the same, but we'll just change the class type of the bomb rail heavy. Okay. That we still do have to do, we still have to set up that stuff, so so what happens, we'll have this int slot, and then we'll also pass through as well the I code, so that we can set up the weapon itself. Oops. Because we'll have to call the weapon installation function from weapon to install the weapon itself. And what we'll do with this is this class here will be used for setting up the weapon spread. And how that'll work is that we'll have a vector in ship, or maybe two or three vectors in ship that will have elements that are hardpoints here, and then we'll just when we go to create, when the player goes to create one, they'll choose them the hardpoint number, and then the type will be added to each element as it goes through. And then you'll be able to get that, and we'll use it the same way as we did with the battle order, the battle participants order for the battle loop. We'll do it in a similar fashion to that. But first we need to get over to here. So So add in all these. Alright, so we need to say HP slot equals slot, and then we need to call HP weapon dot I weapon I code, and this way it's also you know, class A specific, so we can just copy this to every class and it'll work no matter what. Which is what we probably should have done with the ship class as well. Ship, okay, good, it's done. Sweet. Let's open up computer again real quick. So that was Nemoria. 146, damn, we're getting kind of low on that one. So we added 70 to 101, I believe, is what it was. Go ahead and delete those. Yeah, 70 to 101. That'll give us 50 more gigs to deal with there. I don't think I'm going to be able to get these over there because it has to unload, I guess. It unloads the entire RAR and then adds stuff back in. I just want to do one test on, figure out if that's due to... Let's add this one in. So it should only be about 3 gigabytes. This should be, if I'm right, as it's going along. But we'll have to see what happens. Keep an eye on it. So what happens is you'll pass the slot number and the I code to here, and and start updating yet. Then we'll come back through and do the other stuff through other functions. So we need to add now hard point. So void set hard point set HP slot int slot HP slot equals slot. Let's see, what other functions do we got here? So, oh yeah, set weapon type. Sure. Void hardpoint set hardpoint weapon type string type HP weapon type equals type. I think maybe having it open screwed it up somehow. Let's try it again. So it should go fairly soon here. Okay, now we want to do int hardpoint get HP slot return HP slot string hardpoint get HP weapon type return HP weapon type. Okay. I think that was all the stuff we had to do there, yeah. Okay, so now we go to ship.h and we need to change these to vectors. So vector hardpoint of hardpoints. Said we'll call this vector let's call it though. Where are you? Damn it. I guess we'll call it weapon spread something or something like that. Weapon, we'll say ship weapon spread 1. Vector hardpoints S weapon S spread 2. And we'll give the player three spreads that they can use. Still not actually doing anything yet. Strange. Let's see, I'll make a note here. Weapon spreads. Vector of hard point B. Bomb holds. Vector hard point H heavy weapon base vector hard point L banks vector hard point m turrets, and finally vector hard point r or just say R guns, I guess. Rail guns. Okay, so we got all of our vectors made. Still is not doing anything yet. It's annoying. I wonder if that has anything to do with it. Nope. Got a bug. There's a bug in Windows if you have the G510 keyboard and have the media sync thing on, where if any media you've played, if you have to not only close down media player after you're done once you're done playing it, you also have to kill the process, because the software from the keyboard LCD screen will actually keep the file loaded into Windows Media Player, and if you want to move it around or delete it or something, you can't do that because it'll be locked. And that's a perfect example of how things can go kind of weird when you have different programs installed. And my mouse is finally charged, so that's good. But so we got these vectors here. Now we have to go through and change how the hardpoints are initialized, which is this one. So we want to say lbanks dot pushback. I'm going to say laser. Or no, we want to say hardpoint L. And we have to pass the item code. Damn. Sure, we can't just do it this way anymore. We have to do it a different way. We'll have to break this up into So init hardpoint, and we'll say string of type, and then an int of I code. So back to ship. String type int I code. So we'll say is if type equals laser, and then we'll say take this off. We don't need to initialize these anymore, at least